Hello, welcome to the analytics-based investigation and automated response with Splunk and AWS. My name is Wissam Ali Ahmad, and I'm a lead solution architect with Splunk. Go over the agenda first. We're going to go over the AWS security principles and best practices first, and then we'll talk about how you get that data, the security data from the security services in AWS, from AWS into Splunk. Thirdly, we'll go over how you maintain your healthy security posture of your workload with detections and investigation. And then we'll end up talk about the automated response to these threats and how you can do that through faster automation through orchestration and faster response. So firstly, the AWS security principles around identifying, investigation, and also responding to these threats in the AWS environment, especially with their large scale. When it comes to security on AWS, it's important to understand that security is a shared responsibility. AWS is responsible for security of the cloud. This includes the global infrastructure that AWS makes available to customers around the world and the software powering compute, storage, and database and networking. Additionally, AWS works with external compliance organizations to demonstrate the AWS portion of this responsibility still meets the organization's security requirements. Now, on the other hand, customers then have responsibility to their security configuration in the cloud. This includes deciding how they are going to encrypt their data at rest and in transit, how they are going to protect their operating system, ensuring the security of their platform and applications, and ensuring that they have the right protection and access controls of the data that they are storing in AWS. The customer portion of the shared responsibility model is also where partners like fit like Splunk. The model allows customers to be able to use the partner solutions that they want in order to help them meet their security goals. This squirrel where a partner like Splunk fits. Important here to understand the shared responsibility framework and the role in which Splunk plays for enhanced security and visibility of the security threats and data. So AWS handles security of the cloud, and the customer is responsible for the security in the cloud. AWS provides various services and features to help customer data and applications secure. Splunk works with AWS to support customers to meet their security goals by providing end-to-end monitoring and visibility. So this is a kind of the ecosystem and the catalog of all the different AWS security services and solutions that covers all various cycles from identity and detections and infrastructure, protection of the infrastructure, and data protection as well, and also incident response that you can do to respond to these threats. So these are all the different security solutions in AWS available today. Now, in order to scale securely with the superior visibility, right? That's important. With AWS, you can control where your data is stored and who can access it and what resources your organization is consuming at any given moment. So fine-grained identity and access controls combined with continuous monitoring for near real-time security information ensures that the right resources have the right access at all times, whatever your information is stored. So reduce risks at the scale by using your security automation and activity monitoring services to detect suspicious security events like configuration changes across your ecosystem. You can also integrate our services, the AWS services, with existing solutions to support existing workflows, streamline operations, and simplify compliance reporting. So that's the visibility you gain and all the different use cases with these AWS security solutions. Now, talking about automation, how you can automate and reduce risk with very integrated services. So when you automate the security tasks on AWS, that will enable you to be more secure by reducing the human configuration errors, giving your team more time to focus on other work critical to your business. This way, you select from a wide variety of deeply integrated solutions that can combine with automate tasks in a novel way. So that way, making it easy for your security team to work closely with the developer and operations team to create and deploy code faster and more securely. For example, by employing techniques and technologies like machine learning, AWS can enable you to automatically and continuously discover and classify and protect sensitive data in AWS. And this is done with just a few clicks in the AWS console. You can also automate some infrastructure application security checks to continually enforce your security and compliance controls and help ensure, with confidence and integrity, what's and high availability at all times. So automation in a hybrid environment with information management and security tools to easily integrate AWS as a seamless and secure extension of your on-prem and legacy system. So diving deeper here, why security automation is important, right? So because when you automate for security response, you not only you're getting quicker response, you're getting consistency in the operational aspect in the response to security threats. You're also getting informed on decisions. You can have a better way to automate, tracking and collaboration, and especially important these days because the skills in the security world are very scarce. So basically, do more with less, and then be able to quickly mitigate things. So where does security automation fit? So talking about development in the development pipeline, the steady state operations and response. So that's where we want to make sure we have part of the development pipeline cycle. We have security automation available to maybe continuously check the vulnerabilities or even patching and within our code. So this way will enforce the checks and provide artifacts during this pipeline. And then the incident response in this case is very important aspect of that. Once you look at the checks and you make that part of your cycle, you need to respond automatically so that those issues don't end up in production. So let's talk about the life cycle, right? The foundational and all the layers, how these layers and in AWS for these security services map into this life cycle, right? And on the identity side, we have services like, if you see here on the left side, services like the Security Hub, AWS Control Tower. These are services that will identify any issues in your environment. And then on the protect side, this is where you have things like, the cloud directory, be able to look at, AWS Shield. That's where it's going to protect you. Make sure you have the right configurations, IAM, the firewall, and we'll have all that on the protection side. Detection side, AWS, the Amazon Guard Duty is you have to use, and the Macie can be used for the detection. And then of course, AWS Security Hub, and these will feed into the automation and investigation, and hence the response. In that case, when we have things like CloudTrail and all that data, these events alerts coming into a response where you can generate from that, the cloud formation aspect needed for that. So the recover phase here is not just about the data, but also about the ability to recover the entire infrastructure and apps extremely fast. So AWS services help take point in time snapshots and use the recover system and data. Things like AWS OpsWorks and CloudFormation, in this case, help the automation. So what are the use cases today that you can use to protect your account and resources and compliance, right? So these are the three essential use cases that we're going to discuss when we talk together both about Splunk and AWS. When I detect the AWS account, this is the use case when I want to protect my account. I want to be able to see if my account has been compromised, detect any potential unauthorized IAM users, and also take action. In this case, change the password for all the IAM users. if that's another detection. On the compute resources case, I want to monitor any access to resources. I want to scan for vulnerabilities, look for alerts that I'm seeing for, like, for example, open ports. On the compliance side, I want to look at AWS config. In this case, will help a lot with the compliance checks and the audit manager as well, and Security Hub. Now, enter Splunk and AWS. So Splunk basically is that fully featured platform for indexing data at high volume, whether structured or unstructured, and then be able to give you answers on that data and be able to analyze and search on that data and act on that data as well. As you see here from this diagram, we have all the integrations, all this, the AWS security services are all today integrated with Splunk. And then those data sources on the left, they feed in real time into Splunk. And then we have AWS specific applications, searches and rules and add-ons to collect that data into the AWS. So now you can enrich your AWS data with information from your broader infrastructure and business applications and database with Splunk. Splunk is giving you that capability. Now you can take in AWS data and analyze all the layers, peeling the onion of not only your AWS data that you need on the cloud level, but also what's running inside your environment. So how do we do that? Splunk makes your data visible and accessible, and quickly give you the answers that you need. And Splunk is going to collect all that data for you in one place, and you can search on that data in a very large scale. So Splunk collect from anywhere, search and analyze across all the data, and rapidly deliver for you in real time the insights from the machine data. So today, Splunk offers a suite of security solutions, and all these solutions integrate with AWS today with all these critical AWS data sources here, like GuardDuty, CloudTrail, and Security Hub. And so these are all solutions that are scalable, analytics-based security solutions, and then we'll analyze that quickly from a whole suite of use cases, and also user behavior analytics as well, and also our security orchestration automation, Phantom, all integrate with AWS data sources. So let's talk about how that data is collected and then ingested into Splunk. We're focused today on these 4 critical data sources from AWS: GuardDuty, VPC flow logs for network, CloudTrail for changes, and Security Hub for general, for all these security alerts that the AWS can see in your environment. So what is the typical data flow and use case? So this is intended to show the data. This is an example how we would highlight that data, those key data sources flowing into Splunk. As you can see here, if I want to detect my changes, my network configuration, my DNS, all these are fed into, as we know today, into GuardDuty already. GuardDuty sends that into to Security Hub, and Security Hub also is collecting compliance checks as well. So all these sent triggers what they call findings. Those findings are actually sent via CloudWatch event. And there's 2 ways to get those into Splunk. For investigation and detection, which is the Splunk SIEM product, Splunk Enterprise Security, you have 2 ways to get that data collected. With Amazon Event Bridge today, you can get that directly by an HTTP protocol directly into Splunk. Another way is through Kinesis Firehose. We have integrations with the getting the CloudWatch data, the CloudTrail data, and VPC flow logs. All these are fed into Kinesis and also directly into Splunk Enterprise Security through the add-on, the AWS add-on. Now, for orchestration automation, is Splunk Phantom is the product, and also there's a way to get that data directly from CloudWatch events into Phantom through the SQS integration. Now let's talk about use cases for how you can use that data into Splunk Enterprise Security. Today, if I want to look at account protection, right? This is how I'm going to map essentially my data sources from AWS and how they will trigger the proper detections in ES, which are basically correlation searches. So in that case, for CloudTrail events, these are mapped into what we call common information model. And that's basically around change analysis and authentication. So if you have ES, you'll see those that data and triggering and not only in dashboards, but also you can see that data triggering notables based on the authentication model. And with this way, you could detect, issues with user logins and so on. And today we have detections as well that keep updating it with the content update. We have our team who keep continuously releases updates of these detections over time. Amazon GuardDuty, of course, is another source of data and events related to account activities, and these triggers are mapped into what we call alert model, and then those will trigger again notables in Splunk Enterprise Security around unauthorized access, and maybe some recon activity and all those, and then you can use that those notables in ES to start investigation and then look at all the other data sources that you have in your infrastructure that you already ingested in Splunk Enterprise Security to find out where the root cause or what else going on. Splunk is going to help you answer questions like, what else is going on in my environment? Where is this happening? Second use case is around compute resources. How do I defend my compute resources? So I bring that data again from AWS into Splunk Enterprise Security around, let's say, a network activity, right? So I have my VPC flow logs, and those are mapped into the add-on into the data source for VPC flow, and then to the network traffic common information model. And then I can detect things like port scanning, spike in traffic, and other areas around ports. Now, CloudTrail as well has events that map to change analysis. In that case, I can see things around EC2 instances configuration being changed, modified by certain users, and as well also GuardDuty in this case includes these recon actions around EC2, and these map also into alerts. Now on the compliance side, we have Security Hub. These are also mapped into a CIM model, and that's work that we're continuing improving on. That's coming more on that. And then with that case, in this case, the findings are triggering notables around data protections and configurations and compliance. CloudTrail as well includes authentication here in this case. Things like passwords and other access control and so on. Now, this is the diagram that we're illustrating how we scale the architecture with all these events we're talking about, how you can have this push architecture to allow for the high volume of data getting into Splunk through the Firehose, in this case, and through what we call HTTP event collector that will be load balanced across multiple indexers. And this is very important for that when you have to scale to large volumes of data and the ability to have actions based on that on that data directly into Splunk Enterprise Security and also Phantom as well. So now let's talk about the automation side. I investigated my issues. I detected them in Splunk Enterprise Security. Now I want to take action. I want to be able to automate and take a decision based on these data sources. This is another view of how we can look at that cycle of a typical incident response. I start with the detection, of course. In this case, my detection could be triggered, as we mentioned, the alerts coming in from findings from GuardDuty or a Security Hub, and then I can get that visibility on these alerts by having them coming in through Security Hub and directly into Splunk Enterprise Security. That's where analytics is happening. So I'm doing additional correlations in there. I can modify and customize my alerts to detect high fidelity alerts, so I can act on them. So that's the picture when coming into Splunk Enterprise Security. And now how do I respond? I can respond either directly into Splunk Enterprise Security by taking action, or I can send that trigger another playbook in Phantom. So the cycle is alerts from Security Hub, triggers notables, which are based on correlations, and those trigger a playbook in Phantom. And then the Phantom playbook will include actions that will automate things like finding the IOC, the indicator of compromise from another source, and then making decision where based on the score of the IOC, do I want to act on this threat? And usually the action is to maybe quarantine an EC2 instance, or disable an account, or change permissions. So that's why the actions on this side you see is going outbound back into AWS to make the changes. So let's walk you through a typical cloud SOAR use case. In this case, this is automation based on the Security Hub finding. So the first step here is the observe step. We're observing. We're looking at what the alerts coming in. In this case, Security Hub detects there's a potential threat with the exposed Amazon EC2 instance. The Security Hub triggers the finding as a CloudWatch event. The CloudWatch event is, in this case, forwards the findings to SMS SQS directly into Phantom. There's a Phantom app for Security Hub that exists today that collects those events directly into Phantom. And then the playbook is executed. The playbook in this case is first step is to investigate. So the automation step to investigate includes finding the risk level, look at the EC2 instance configuration, collect the host activity, get connectivity probing instances. For example, look at the IP reputation of the IP, the geolocation, and then create a service ticket so you can now document all the findings that you did based on your investigation, and then let either a human make a decision, or if it's very critical, but based on all this information that we collected, if we determine that it's very critical, we can automate the next step, which is the step 3. In this case, I can call another playbook to isolate the instance. In this case, we modify the security group, and that's how the isolation happened. So that's a typical example where, getting that data directly into Phantom and then take action on that through the automated response. So key takeaway here is that I want to be able to, understand the key security relevant data in AWS services, right? We have all the data we have between from looking at change, authentication, authorization data, compute information happening, alerts from Security Hub and GuardDuty. That's all the key data that already we have collected in Splunk. And then also how do I become familiar with getting that data to Splunk? I need an add-on. I need to enable the proper permissions on the accounts to collect the data. And then what integration points I can use between EventBridge or security or Firehose. And also we went over the use cases, right? How to typically detect things around account activity, compute and configurations, compliance. All those exist today with Splunk Enterprise Security content that we have to do these detections. Now on the response side, we have playbooks. We have apps in Phantom, which is our security orchestration automation solution, and that's where you can automate, not only the investigation but also the response and taking the action on a mitigative action. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.